Welcome to our Family Solutions blog series on anxiety. I want to talk about some of the techniques that might be used when we're doing therapy. The most common form of doing therapy is cognitive behavioral therapy, whether it's direct cognitive behavioral therapy or some form of cognitive behavioral therapy. And essentially there's three elements that we would be working on in this type of therapy. The most common is recognizing the thoughts that a person might have, the ones that are healthy and the ones that are maybe causing distress, and seeing what we can do to help challenge some of those thoughts and even change maybe the belief system that a patient might have about themselves, about the world, and all of those around them. And even though this is the most common, this is also where we sometimes have the most obstacles or blocks. The other areas of therapy that we may intervene in is the emotions, not the thoughts that the patient is having, but what are they feeling. And I would like to focus today a little bit on that area of therapeutic intervention. We all have emotions. How we perceive those emotions will often determine the level of distress that we have with them. As I mentioned earlier in the series of videos on anxiety, using our creative mind is often more accessible as an intervention than trying to think through our problems, or in this case, thinking through our emotions. We often cannot over-intellectualize our emotions and resolve them. So I like to once again try a technique of using an image or an analogy. When we're feeling emotions, especially strong or intensive emotions, do we picture them as a cave or do we picture them as a tunnel? If we see them as a cave, it may be really difficult to go into that cave. We go into this big room, this cavernous, and decorated on the walls of this cave is all of the negative emotions that we are currently thinking and feeling. If we go into that cave, are we stuck? Are we going to be trapped in there with that emotion forever? Feeling sad, discouraged, resentful. When we see our emotions as a cave, it makes sense why we might avoid them, or why we might ignore them, mislabel them, try to numb them. Let's try to imagine these emotions that we're having right now more like a tunnel. We still are going to go through that feeling of discouragement or sadness or resentment, but we also know that there's an end. Can we work through this tunnel, allow ourselves to be okay with the presence of this emotion, and also know that emotions are temporary. They're not supposed to be with us all of the time. We walk through it however slowly or however long this tunnel might be, but we do come to an end. Visualize coming to that end and getting out of the tunnel. And then, now that we're out of that tunnel, then we can maybe reflect on what we might think or what it might have meant to us to have had that feeling. But can we avoid deciding what to think and avoid deciding what to do while we're still in that tunnel? So that way we're not letting emotions decide what we should do for us, but we went through it, we respected that emotion, we got through that emotion, and then we evaluated how it might impact us, what it might mean, and what we might do. Try that out once this week. Thank you.